Hey, we got Crawford, Canelo. I'm looking forward to it. Even though they're both almost 40, I'm looking forward. It's a good matchup. But just show up and
You say, I want Canelo. Is there anybody in the camp that would say, you're not ready for this?
That's a big boy. He's strong. That's a conversation. It's not just, oh man, you will whoop his ass.
Like, yes, man type stuff.
I'm not worried about Canelo. I'm not thinking about Canelo.
You know, if 168 pounds, I think it's Canelo, but it's Canelo better technique because 50-50.
There are only a few months left until the big fighting event. Fans will see a fight between two warriors who have been at the top for years, being the best 10 competing fiercely. Meanwhile, Dmitry Bivol, who lost his fight against Canelo Alvarez, told it like it was about the likely fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford, in response to the news that it would be revealed soon.
It's not interesting to see the fight when one person doesn't want to win at all. But it was hard to fight for Canelo because he was always aiming, and even the skull didn't throw punches, and it's hard to catch him. You know, he's just moving, but his movement is good, to be honest.
Yeah.
In the beginning, he talks about Canelo's earlier fight with William Smith, saying that Smith didn't seem motivated to win. The fight was tough for Canelo because Smith didn't throw any punches, which made it hard for him to hit clean shots. Bivol stated. He also said that Smith had great mobility, but wasn't able to fully challenge Canelo.
Destiny, because he's a champion and he's a hard puncher, and guys just scared to risk too much. They don't throw punches because it's a risk.
Bivol also changes the subject to Canelo's fight with Crawford and says that Crawford will take a different method. He thinks Crawford will be more aggressive than Canelo's most recent opponents and will think like a winner going into the fight. Bivol thinks the battle will be more exciting because of Crawford's fighting style, which differs from the more passive style that Canelo has encountered in some of his recent fights.
I think Crawford wants this fight a lot. He wants this fight, and I think he will be more active than Canelo's previous opponent, and he has different mentality. He has champion mentality. I think fight will be much more interesting.
What do you make of the weight in that fight, the weight difference?
I think Crawford will not let Canelo just walking on the ring when he wants.
Bivol also mentioned the weight disparity between Canelo and Crawford, implying that Crawford will not let Canelo dictate the pace as easy as in the past. He thinks Crawford will be more demanding and will not allow Canelo to rest during the bout, as he did with Smith, when asked who would win. Bivol stayed unsure, calling it a very fascinating bout and stating that only time will tell.
We could see this fight. Canelo did everything. When he wanna rest, he could rest easy, you know, in this fight. Yeah, of course, when he wants to work, that guy didn't give him work. It just rest. And I think with Crawford, it will be harder to rest.
Who do you think wins?
I don't know. It's a very interesting fight, but I don't know.
Mikey Garcia, an American former professional boxer who won numerous world championships, cautions that Canelo's strength, particularly his uppercuts, might seriously harm Terence Crawford. He also says that if Crawford takes a heavy shot, he will likely adopt a defensive tactic, even switching to a southpaw to avoid more damage. Garcia thinks that no amount of money is worth enduring life-altering injuries.
Because when he takes a shot from Canelo, one of those uppercuts from Munguia or those...
He could get dropped, or he feels it enough to be like, this, I'm boxing, and goes on the bicycle and turns southpaw for the rest of the night. And I wouldn't blame him either. Fuck it, you're gonna go in there, collect your paycheck at that point.
Right.
You're not gonna go get hurt.
Right.
What good is it to get 20, 30 million if you are fucking hurt physically, end up in the hospital and hurt just physically, life-changing, you don't want that shit.
Despite the inherent hazards, Garcia believes Crawford is a real winner given the skill and intellect he displays in the ring. He agrees that if Crawford defeats Canelo, he would be called one of the top 3 boxers of all time. A wonderful feat.
I heard him, it could be life-changing.
He's not big, bro. one punch can knock him out bad enough to hurt his eye socket or detach retina. You never know.
Right.
So no one wants that shit.
Crawford said if he beats him, he's in the top 3 GOATs of all time.
Oh, for sure. If Crawford beats Canelo, then for sure, you'll motherfucking tops in the world, bro. And he actually does have a chance. It's not like he doesn't have a chance. Don't be too surprised if he pulls it off in the decision.
After his recent triumph, Canelo Alvarez looks forward to gaining another. He has said that although he is looking forward to celebrating his win after beating Terence Crawford, he is aware that it will be a challenging and thrilling fight. Canelo is aware of Crawford's skill and resilience, but is sure that he will emerge victorious. Canelo considers the bout a significant test but thinks he is ready to confirm once more that he is the best.
That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show. You know what I mean?
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this win and then.
Daniel Cormier answers to the news of the Canelo Alvarez vs Terence Crawford super bout, saying that Canelo's current performance was not as thrilling as fans would expect. He believes that when a powerful fighter like Canelo is put up against an opponent who is unwilling or slow to push back, the fight becomes less exciting. Canelo won nevertheless, but the fight did not produce the type of performance that usually impresses fans and explains the hoopla surrounding him.
Canelo Alvarez fights, and at times, when a guy is as dominant as Canelo, his dance partner will not engage or will not fight at the level that you expect a championship level boxer to fight at because of the fear, the worry of what may happen. Nobody wants to become a highlight. Last night, Canelo Alvarez had a fight. That was essentially the case. The guy kind of ran the whole time, and Canelo, while winning, it wasn't the performance that makes you go, oh my God, I love this guy. You know Canelo is box office. We know Canelo's money, but you don't have a dance partner. It's hard to make those memories. The memory coming out of that fight last night was that at the end of it...
At the same time, Cormier points out that Canelo's star power remains intact. He's a box office draw and an economic powerhouse, but without a skilled dancing partner to push him, it's difficult to create memorable moments. Cormier notes the physical gap between the two fighters, saying that Crawford, a former small man, has grown into a fighter who will most likely compete in the 154 to 160 pounds area. He also alluded to the excitement of the upcoming TV contract and rights, showing the grandeur of the event.
Official. Canelo Alvarez will now fight Terence Crawford September 12th, Allegiant Stadium. He'll defend this Ring Magazine championship against Bud, giving Bud an opportunity to become a 3-time world champion, 3 divisions, super world champion, Mr. Everything. Clearly, they are not the same size. Terence Crawford used to be a small guy. Now he's grown into what will be about a 154-pounder, I'd imagine. They'd fight around 154, 160. Luis, I would love if you can give me what weight class to be contested.
Furthermore, Cormier provides a spoiler for the upcoming UFC 315 breakdown, most likely referring to the probable large UFC event around this fight, so an exciting combat sports season appears.
I'm Terence Crawford and Canelo fight. Bud will be 36, Canelo will be 34 years old. Now, I'm not saying those guys are done. By no means. They're still the 2 best boxers in the world. But imagine if we got those guys in their late 20s, right? Or 3 to 4 years ago. It is still going to be a monster. I don't imagine it's going to be anything less than super successful. But should it have happened a couple years ago? They're just as good as they've always been. Crawford is 41-0, 31 KOs. Going up to 154, going to fight Canelo at 154. He's won world titles at lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and super welterweight. So he's been a champion everywhere. But Bud's going to make Canelo fight at 54. I don't know that Canelo's been fighting at 54 for a while. Remember all those b-ball fights up at like 175 for Canelo Alvarez. They're 2 of the best boxers in the world.
Daniel Cormier discussed the date of the highly anticipated Terence Crawford vs Canelo Alvarez fight, adding that most fans think the clash is going place a few years later than it should have. Despite the delay, Cormier thinks the bout will be a huge success since both fighters are still top class. Crawford is jumping up to 150 pounds to fight Canelo, who has fought at larger weight classes such as 175 pounds in his fights with Bivol. Nevertheless, to fight between Crawford and Canelo will be at 168 pounds. Cormier admits the problem for both guys because Canelo hasn't fought at 150 pounds in a while and Crawford is moving down in weight to meet him.
Phenomenal fighters. They're both still in their prime. Most UFC champions aren't even under 30. I don't know that we have one under 30 male champion right now. So they're in their athletic prime, right? 30 to 35. But a couple years ago, it might have had a little more steam because they didn't have that performance like Canelo had last night. With that being said, Dana White's going to promote this thing. And because Dana White is going to promote this thing, I feel like it'll bring a different level of interest into the UFC. Ilya Topuria is 27. I thought Canelo has gotten, he's not as good as he was when he was fighting at 154, 160, because he's a little bigger, carrying more muscle, but I think it's going to be a blockbuster event. Going to be one of the biggest pay-per-views we've ever seen. Going to be highly competitive, and I do believe that that added element that Dana's going to be promoting, that Riyadh season is going to be promoting, is going to make more people tap in to what's going on in this big fight. They're going to sell out Allegiant Stadium. I'm going to be there front row.
Cormier admits that the fight will still be a big deal, especially with Dana White advertising it, which will pique the curiosity of boxing and UFC fans alike. He expected the fight to be one of the largest pay-per-views in history.
Great guy. His sons are tremendous wrestlers, boxers. They do everything. I know Terence from the wrestling. I know how motivated he is to fight this fight. I know that Canelo Alvarez is as good as anyone we've seen in a long time. True legend of boxing. It's a massive fight. I hope that it can deliver and match or exceed the expectation.
Teofimo Lopez, who has recently fought, expressed his thoughts on the battle between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, which is a combination of respect for Crawford's mental approach and knowledge of the odds he would face against Canelo.
Crawford, Canelo, who you got?
Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo.
I got Canelo too.
I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more.
Yep.
However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should test the waters even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo. But hey, they say he's a dog. He got shot in the head and drove to the hospital, so maybe that's just his mentality.
According to Teofimo, Crawford is a fighter with amazing tenacity and grit. He recounts an incident in which Crawford was injured but still had the resolve to continue, exemplifying Crawford's warrior spirit. This suggests that Crawford has the heart of a true champion, eager to absorb and battle regardless of the conditions.
Mentality.
Hey, let's see. Only one way to find out till that day comes.
It's the only way, but I definitely think that it's a great fight overall. You know, black and brown is how you get down.
That's right, that's right.
Moving on. In a recent interview, Roy Jones Jr. provided a bold stance on the probable Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, which is anticipated to take place in September if Alvarez beats William Skull. When asked who he would favor, Roy stated, "It's tough to predict, and it all depends on how Canelo approaches the fight." He repeated that if Canelo tries to box and outbox Crawford, he would lose. He claimed Crawford is highly adept in that area. However, Roy believes that if Canelo fights with desire, intensity, and a point to prove rather than trying to be the slicker boxer, he will win.
You know, it's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the.
During a television interview, boxer Hamza Shiraz noted that Canelo did exactly what he needed to do, but criticized Skull for his bad attitude and failing to come out aggressively, saying that to beat someone like Canelo, one must dominate, as Dimitri Bivol did. He claimed that defensive movement in the ring shows a lack of confidence, especially against a winner.
He done what he had to do, Canelo, but in terms of William Skull, I think easier said than done. I've not been in the position myself, so this is just kind of guesstimating. But I think if I was in the Canelo, I would have just had it out with him, man. Go out on your shield. You can already tell once they start moving around the ring, they've got the negative mindset, because they know, we know, when you're fighting a champion like Canelo, you have to dominate. You have to do what Bivol done to him, and you have to be very, very smart in the way you do it, but aggressive as well. You can't be negative, because it ain't gonna work.
He was also questioned if he expected Canelo versus Crawford to be the next big fight. Shiraz stated sure that Canelo would beat Crawford because the size and weight gap is too great to overcome. He acknowledged Crawford's ability, but claimed that jumping from 147 to 168 pounds is too much for even a gifted fighter like Crawford.
You know, things are getting a bit closer, because a lot of people are saying, look, Canelo's a bigger guy, he should win by size. But for you, how does that fight play out?
I think Canelo does win by knockout. I think he does win by knockout. And that's only because of the weight. You can't jump up from 54 to 68 fighting the best of the best, even though you're the best yourself. It's too much of a weight jump, man. But listen, you never know. You can't write off Crawford, but I think Canelo will.
Furthermore, Israel Madamov's bold prediction for the Canelo-Alvarez against Terence Crawford fight is that, while Canelo would have the edge at 168 pounds due to his size and strength, Crawford brings a new set of skills. If the fight lasts the full 12 rounds, Madrimov believes Crawford's superior technique, ring IQ, and experience will help him to outbox Canelo.
If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think.
Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, what do you think about that fight if they did fight? Looks like it's up for September.
Good fight. You know, if 168 pounds, I think it's Canelo, but it's Canelo better technique, because 50-50. If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think.
But if the fight ends faster, Canelo's ability to knock out an opponent will come into play and benefit him. Crawford's complex fighting style comes from the synergy of power, intelligence, and experience, which allows him to make changes in the ring. Madrimov sees the fight as a 50-50th chance, with either of the boxers capable of winning based on what happens in the ring.
If knockout, it's Canelo.
What makes Crawford so difficult to fight against?
He has power, smart, in more practical.
He has more experience.
On the other side, Panamanian former professional boxer Roberto Duran gave advice on how Terence Crawford may defeat Canelo Alvarez. According to Duran, Crawford's trick to winning the fight will be to stay active, deliver punches regularly, and use his speed and agility to confuse Canelo. Duran thinks Crawford's ability to keep Canelo guessing while avoiding huge shots will be crucial. He ordered that Crawford outgrind Canelo, not allow him to catch his breath, and be relentless throughout the fight. This Duran believes will be how Crawford wins the bout in what will be a hard battle. As we near the Crawford-Canelo mega fight, anticipation is building. Do you think Canelo can handle Crawford's quickness and skill in the ring? Is this the most difficult task of Canelo's career? Is this greatness in the making, or is it a mistake waiting to happen? Please share your ideas below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fight analysis and candid boxing comments.